On behalf of the Washoe County School District, welcome to our third presentation of Thursday Tech Tips for Families. We have created this online space as a continued technology resource for our community. Many of our students and families are using technology for the first time to complete schoolworks, communicate with their teachers, as well as monitor grades and attendance. We know that navigating these new tools and existing programs can be challenging and hope that these presentations provide insight to the tools that you are using. If you missed past presentations or would like to review our past topics, please visit the website that you see on your screen, which is washoeschools.net/page/16005. Today, we will hear from 3 experts on Infinite Campus, Teams, and Edgenuity. First, we will have a presentation on Infinite Campus. Infinite Campus is Washoe County School District's student information system. IC is an app that is accessible by staff, students, and parents from any device that can be connected to the internet. For parents, Infinite Campus is essentially a report card. It's used to monitor attendance, check grades, and assessments. This is an interactive presentation, and should our viewers have questions during the presentation, we would love to hear from you. You can either email us at the address on your screen, which is parentuniversity@washoeschools.net, or you can post your questions on the YouTube chat running alongside this video. Keep in mind that you will need to sign in order to submit questions on the YouTube chat, and messages that you send will be public. We want to remind our viewers that personal attacks, racist, hateful, and derogatory language are discouraged, and we will not be responding to these comments. Without further delay, I would like to introduce our first presenter, Anna Anderson, who will be presenting on Infinite Campus.
Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the Infinite Campus Parent Portal. The Infinite Campus Parent Portal is an online website and mobile application where parents can obtain updates on their students' progress, including grades, assignments, attendance, and assessments. It allows parents to complete the online registration and will enable changes to email and contact preferences. The application also keeps the most current immunization records. The portal is available in other languages. Today we're going to look at 3 important areas to focus on when monitoring your child's progress: attendance, grades, and class assignments. To access the parent portal, open a web browser on your computer and type in www.washoeschools.net. You're going to go down to where it says Quick Links, and here you're going to look for Infinite Campus Parent/Student Login. Here is where you'll be able to log in to view your child's progress. You'll be given 2 options, Campus Student and Campus Parent. The one that you want to select is Campus Parent. This is where you enter your username and your password. If you've forgotten your username or password, you can click on either one of these links and the computer will help you reset them. Or you can always contact your child's school and they'll help you reset it. For now, I'm going to be using a fake account, so I'm going to switch over to that tab. I've already entered my username in here, so I'm going to type in my password and then click Login. On this page, you'll be able to see messages from the district, from your school, and messages from teachers. If you click on the tab that says Inbox, this is where you'll find the messages from your child's teachers. Over on the left-hand side is a menu of options. If you click on one of them, you'll notice that over to your right-hand side, there's a little icon of an individual with a little drop-down arrow. If you have more than one student in the school district, This will allow you to select a child that you want to look at first. If you only have one student in the school district, you won't see this. It'll just open up to your child. I'd like you to keep in mind that elementary students will have the same schedule for both terms. In this case, I'm going to select Hugo. He's in elementary school. And his schedule doesn't change. So we're in term 2 right now, and I clicked on term 3 and term 4, which would be next semester, and his schedule and teacher does not change. For students who are in middle school and high school, they will have different teachers in some courses, and their schedules will change as well. So if you notice that between term 2 and term 3, Diego's schedule changed. When selecting attendance, make sure you're in the current term. In this case, since I was just showing you term 3 and term 2, and I'd like to point out that we are in term 2 right now, which started on October 19th and ends on December 17th. However, since we just, it's not been so long since we've started it, there's not a lot of data here. So I'm going to go back to term 1. When selecting attendance, make sure you're in the correct term. Right now we are in term 2, which is the current term, and the date range on that is from October 19th through December the 17th. But here there's not a lot of history to show you. So I'm going to go to, so I've selected attendance for my fake student Diego. It's important to note that you need to be in the correct term. We are in the correct term at this moment, term 2, which started on October 19th through, and it ends on December 17th. So right here there's not a lot of history. So we're going to go back to term 1. It started on August the 10th and it ended on October 16th. So you're going to see a summary of Diego's classes, as well as all of his absences and tardies that the school has recorded. Checking attendance is really important, and you'll want to verify that your child's attendance is correct. So I'm going to click on ELA. Here you'll notice that he's got 6 unexcused absences, and it's very important to find out why. So it could have been that Diego forgot to log in into Teams to let the teacher know, or his teachers know, that he was doing his work. He could have just gone straight to doing his work and working on his assignments. For students who are in middle and high school, they're going to have possibly up to 7 or 8 teachers, and they're going to want to check in for each one of those classes that they have. Otherwise, they'll be marked absent. So it's really important that you look at the attendance and just check in with your student. Students need to be checking in daily. This lets the teacher know that they're logged on and that they're doing their work. If you notice that there are absences, ask your child if they forgot to check in, if they're on distance or hybrid model. Contact the front office of your child's school if the absences are incorrect. In high school, too many absences in one class can lead to your child missing credits for graduation. It's important to monitor attendance. We can't say this enough. If you have questions or concerns about absences, make sure to contact your child's school. When you click on grades, you'll need to check that you have the current term here too. So right now it automatically defaulted to term 2 because that's where we're at. So I'm going to go back to term 1, and as I mentioned before, the date span is listed right next to the term. In grades, you'll see a snapshot of your child's courses and their progress grades. Start by celebrating and praising your child for the good work he or she is doing. Positive reinforcement goes a long way and will encourage them to continue doing good work. This praise can be about one assignment that they put a lot of effort into, or maybe they struggled through, but persisted and finished their work. We are looking currently at Diego's progress, so I'm going to find one of his courses where he's struggling a little bit in. Science reflects his grade as being a D. So I'm going to click on the little arrow next to it. And this will open up another window where it'll list any assignments, tests, quizzes, work being done. It'll also show any missing assignments, incomplete, tardy work that hasn't been graded yet. I want to point out that with missing assignments that are marked in red, will have a 0 as a grade. Ask your child's teacher to have your child ask their teacher if it's missing or if it hasn't been graded yet. This is a good time too for middle school and high school students. Ask them if they turned in their homework. It could be that the teacher hasn't had a moment to grade it or enter it into her grade book. This is an area that you need to just keep an eye on for them, and also for them to be checking. Help your child advocate for themselves and have them contact their teacher to see if they can review the material for them, or if there are other resources your child could access or use to help them, such as an outside tutoring or a peer tutor. Step in as a parent and contact the teacher for additional help and support if your child is not successful at advocating for themselves with the teacher. I want to point out that missing assignments are often the biggest contributor to lowered grades. Have your child ask your teacher if they can submit the late work or do extra credit. Even if it's for lesser points, these extra points can still help them raise their grade. Okay, I'm going to move into assignments now. So for Diego, my fake student, I'm going to be able to see all of the work that he's done for all of his classes that he has this semester since the beginning of the school year. It'll also list any missing assignments. To find out what all the missing assignments are, you're going to click on the Missing tab. Under the Missing tab, it'll list all of the missing assignments, incomplete work that Diego hasn't turned in yet. When you click on Missing, it'll let you know when that assignment was assigned, when it was due, and the total possible points, as well as the score. I can't stress enough how important it is to have your child monitor himself, herself in the student portal, as well as me as a parent monitoring him or her. You can help your child by making a list of these missing assignments by course, contacting the teacher to find out if they can still be turned in for credit, or if they can be assigned extra credit. Help your child advocate for themselves. Have them contact their teacher to see if they can still turn in their work or if they can get extra credit. And just finding out, telling the teacher, yeah, I turned my assignment in, and then he or she can reply and say, oh, I haven't graded it yet, but I have it. At least you know that the teacher has it. Work with your child and encourage them to complete their work. It's important to talk to your child and setting family expectations. Research tells us that one of the best things that families can do is to set high expectations for their child's learning and holding them accountable. Expectations are different in every family. Sample phrases you can use are, I want you to do the best work you're capable of right now. I know some days can be a struggle during COVID, but we've lost a lot. But your education is still important, and it's important for your future. I wanted to share that we have a mobile app available, and you can find directions on how to download the app under the main Family School Partnerships website under Infinite Campus here. And then click on for instructions on downloading the mobile app. This is available in English and Spanish. If you already have the app already downloaded, one helpful tip is to let the app send you notifications. This helps you catch missing assignments quickly and work with your child before they get too far behind. I really appreciate your time, and if you have any questions, please let us know. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna, for that presentation. Now we will move on to the portion of this Tech Thursdays on Teams. Teams, again, is one of several programs in the Office 365 suite in which students and teachers are using to execute distance learning. Here to present on this topic is Jessica Stepaniak, Program Facilitator for the 21st Century Learning Division. Welcome, Jess.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. So in Microsoft Teams, you can see your students' work in the Grades tab and in the Assignments tab. So we have our sample team here in the screen. You might also notice sometimes that assignments are posted in the general channel. But this is just a notification that there has been assignment assigned. It does not have anything to do with the completion of the assignment. So a parent might think that seeing this here in the post means that their student has not completed the assignment yet. But it actually just means that the assignment was assigned. So we have our Assignments tab and our Grades tab. And the first thing that I want to do when I'm checking my students' work in Teams is look at the Grades tab. This allows me to see all of their assignments and what grades they have received for those assignments. So clicking on the due date will sort these assignments by their due dates from oldest to newest. And then if we click on the due date again, it will sort those assignments from newest to oldest. In our example here, then, on the right-hand side of our screen, we see the point values associated with those assignments. You can see which assignments have been graded by the teacher. When assignments show a no value out of 25 or a point value, that means that the teacher has not graded it yet. Assignments that show no points simply mean that the teacher created an assignment but did not assign a point value for those assignments. So that doesn't mean that your child didn't receive points for that assignment. The teacher simply didn't assign points for it. So what I look for are either assignments that have been completed with no score or with a 0 out of so many, or with a very low score. If the assignment was worth 25 points and they only got 5 points, those are the assignments that I want to ask my child about and take a look at. We all know that some students might rush through their assignments, not do their best work, or they might get distracted. That happens a lot. Kids also don't ever want to disappoint their families. So sometimes they will hit the submit button before they're really done, and they might have things missing. So it is not uncommon for students to even turn in blank or only half completed assignments. Most teachers will allow students to redo assignments with very low scores. For instance, an assignment with An assignment may be returned to the student with a score of 0 because some part of the assignment is missing. You would then see the feedback for that assignment, and it might say, you didn't answer question 2, or something like that. The student could then open that assignment back up, add whatever was missing, and then turn it in again. The grades tab only shows the big picture of the grades, however, for each class. So in order to view that particular assignment, to redo it, or to review the feedback given by the teacher, we have to look at the assignments tab and look at those assignments one by one. So in our grades, when we looked here and we noticed the assignment where I got a 0 out of 10, that assignment is called adding with all regrouping. So then I will go to my assignments tab to look for that assignment. Now looking at the assignments tab, there is an assigned section and a completed section. Assignments that have not been completed yet are under the assigned section. One thing that some students have been confused about is there are often more assignments in this section than actually show up on the screen. In our class team here, this load previous wording tells us that there are more assignments that may have been assigned than what we can see. So if we click on these words, quite a few more assignments show up. My own daughter found a few assignments over break that she had not realized were not completed by doing this exact thing. And she had never looked here before any of those assignments because she just assumed that all of her assignments would show on the screen that had been assigned. So in our class team here, you can also see assignments that are past due. A lot of these assignments in my class team here happen to be late. And we know that they're late because the due date is in red ink and there is a past due verbiage under the point value. Assignments that are not past due just look like a regular assignment with all black ink. So there's no red. So red is like a stop sign. So it makes you know that there's something that you need to look at. So when I notice that there's a lot of these past due assignments, this is when I would be asking my student to review each of those late assignments and complete them even though they are past due. We have a rule in our house, even if an assignment is past due, and even if the teacher may not accept late assignments, you are still required to complete those assignments because it is all about the learning going on. Teachers assign things to students so that they are learning from those assignments. So even if they are not going to get credit for it, they still need to learn the material. And that's how we grow as students. So under the completed section, we will see all of our assignments that have been completed. And the check mark means that they have been completed and returned. And once again, we have a load previous wording here that we can click on and see any others that might show up. So when I looked back at the grades tab and noticed the assignments with low scores, this is where I can now come back to look at those assignments to see what was missing. On those assignments, I can redo them and then click turn in again. So for instance, in my assignment here that shows I got a 0 in the grades tab, That was the adding with all regrouping assignment. I can click on that assignment and it opens up. It tells me how many points I received. I received 0 out of 10. But here is where I can read the feedback from the teacher. It says, Jessica, I noticed that nothing is attached here. Please attach your work and then turn it in again. Thank you. So this tells me exactly what I need to do to get the score, the correct score for my assignment. I can do whatever I need to do. I can add work to the assignment, whatever it was I was supposed to do for that assignment. And then I can simply click turn in again. And it's turned in. Now notice here that I also now have an undo turn in button. If the teacher has not reviewed the assignment yet and graded it, this undo turn in button will be here. So, if you are looking with your student at their work that they're working on, even if they've turned it in, you could sit down with them and have them show you their work, show you what they've done, and you could, have kind of those conversations. Do you think this was your best work? Are there some things that you might want to change to make better? If that's the case and your student wants to make some changes to that assignment, they could click undo turn in. They could make those changes, and then they could click turn in again. So it's very helpful to always be checking these two places in Teams for each of your students' classes to help them stay on track with their assignments. Now, one thing that Teams just added as new within this last 2 weeks is over on the left, on the Me space, under assignments now, will show the student all of their assignments for all of their classes. Before, you had to select each class individually when you clicked on the assignments button, but now it shows you all of the assignments and when they're due. So that is a really helpful feature for students to help them stay on track. Now remember that ultimately Infinite Campus is still going to be the best place to keep track of your students' work and their overall grades, because not all assignments are assigned through Teams. So again, hope that this has been helpful for you. And if you have questions, please reach out to your student's teacher or the school for assistance. Thank you.
Thank you, Jess. We have arrived at our third presentation of the evening, Edgenuity. Edgenuity is an online platform where students access learning, assignments, and earn credits in a variety of subjects. Edgenuity is primarily for middle and high school students participating in distance or hybrid learning. Before we dive into this final topic, I want to remind our viewers that we are still taking questions. You can get those to us via email by sending them to parentuniversity@washoeschools.net, or you can post your question in the YouTube chat running alongside this video. Here to present on Edgenuity is Joe Janassi, who works in our Extended Studies Counseling Program. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you, Grace. So tonight I prepared a video that will give you a brief overview of the student experience in Edgenuity, followed by how parents can gain resources to help your child at home. And then it goes into how actual and overall grades work. And then it ends with important updates on how full-time students will earn credits this semester in Ingenuity. So let me share my screen and I'll get that going. I'm going to take my video off so it plays better. I'm going to spend the next 3 minutes giving you a brief overview of the student experience in Edgenuity. As you can see, I'm signed in as a demo student at student.edgenuity.com. And you can see that this student has several courses assigned to them. The first thing I'd like to do is jump right into an actual course to show you the structure of a lesson. So let's start with AZ Common Core ELA 8 A test, for example. Each lesson will begin with a warm-up. A warm-up is generally a 3 to 7 minute opportunity for Edgenuity to introduce the lesson topic. Upon conclusion of the brief warm-up, students move into the direct instruction. This is about 15 to 20 minutes and is the meat and potatoes of the program, where students are provided with the overview of the lesson topic. Once they complete the direct instruction, students will again go back to the brief lesson summary to review and connect what they have learned in the direct instruction. And then there will be an opportunity for an assignment. Assignments can take any number of paths. It could be reading a passage, it could be manipulating the screen, and when the students complete the assignment, the lesson will conclude with a 10-question quiz. Most lessons in Edgenuity will provide students with access to guided notes. Guided notes are PDF editable, and provide an opportunity for students to take notes on what they will be tested on and will be able to use these notes during assessments. Parents should ensure the child is taking e-notes or guided notes if they are not getting the grade they expect, as they can use these notes on any assessment, including the final exam. I'm going to close this window to go back. In addition to guided notes, students have access to their very own help center. Here in the help center, students are provided with many different guides and videos and frequently asked questions that will walk students through the most important aspects of using Edgenuity courseware as a student. I'm going to now leave this help center by just clicking on the tab and go back to the course map page. To help them self-regulate and monitor their own learning and progress, students have access to 3 types of reports. The first report students will have access to is a course report in the top right corner. It's going to load right down here in the bottom left. Once it loads, you can click on it to open it up. Once it opens, I can explain it. The course report will be a detailed PDF shown here, showing grades, progress, and due dates. Let's go back again by clicking on the previous tab. And the second report students will have access to in their profile, so under their name, profile, is the attendance report. The attendance report provides details about logging in. And last but not least, students will have access to the third report called the Student Progress Dashboard. So to get out of this attendance report, we just click on, always can go home by clicking on this icon, top left corner, and then back to our class, just in any open space. And to get to the dashboard, it's the bottom graph looking icon. And the progress bar shows where they are at in the completion of a course, right here. This is the full completion, 100% target, and this student is 25% along the way. If your student is falling behind on the progress bar, you might encourage them to start with the course they are having the most difficulty with. Starting with the difficult course first takes full advantage of their brain when it's at its best and fresh. It's just human nature to work on the things we are good at because it brings us joy. That's when a parent may need to step in and help your child strategically start with the course that is most difficult. One tip would be to provide a non-monetary reward to help motivate them to start with that difficult course and spend more time on the course that's just not pleasurable for them. Also, most courses provide opportunities to retake assessments up to 3 times, and the teachers may provide extra opportunities in certain cases. So you as a parent or guardian may need to step in and advocate in these situations. For the final exam, the student's highest attempt of the 3 will be the score that Edgenuity automatically counts towards the grade. Quizzes and unit tests do not work the same. Let's transition from the student experience to the wealth of support information in help for families that parents can gain to help your child. These parent resources can be accessed from a web browser and are available to the public. Let's look at Edgenuity Help Center. Here in the Family Help Center, there are a number of things I want to point out. There are introductory documentation and videos in English and Spanish. There's basic troubleshooting, English and Spanish. Understanding your progress report if you've been activated for that. And something to pull down, I think would be very useful, is this Edgenuity Student User Guide. Also, some tools, how to use text-to-speech and text translation for just about any language that you need. And at the bottom of the page, you have student best practice, which goes over the things that we just talked about, some of the things we just talked about in the student experience, and much, much more. In the Family Help Center, you can find Understanding the Student Progress Report sent in the parent email, if that's been activated for you. So many parents just want to know if their child is learning the content and has access to resources to demonstrate their learning. So in this graph, we can see if you have been activated for automatic progress email to come to you, you can choose daily alerts, or you can choose weekly or monthly. Within these alerts, when you get them, your actual grade will show in large font and the overall grade will show in smaller font. We do not include this relative grade, so you won't see that at all. You also see the progress of current progress and then the target progress. your start and end date. Let's talk about actual and overall grade, what those mean. So the actual grade, this is the overall grade adjusted for progress if a student is behind. Whereas the overall grade is what your student has earned thus far in the course based on all the activities and assessments he or she has completed. This is a percentage grade based on a 0 to 100% scale. It's important to keep in mind that not everything counts towards their grade that they do in their coursework. The following assignments will not be used in calculating the student's overall grade: vocabulary, direct instruction, lectures, instruction, summary, warm-ups, pre-writing essays, and drafting essays. Now let's transition from parent resources available to you to some grading guidance for full-time students in Edgenuity. I would like to give you a preview of some of the important adjustments and updates that will be shared with schools tomorrow. These are the key points for middle school and high school and are general guidelines for schools. Encourage your child to communicate with their teacher to understand what's expected in their specific course. Let's look at high schools first. Students must complete full course with actual grade of 60% or higher to earn a credit. Number two, final exams will be home-based and unproctored. That means students will take their final exams at home and will not need a teacher to be proctoring those final exams. And then lastly, for high schools, there was previously a requirement to get a 60% on the final exam. This is no longer applying to them. So a student could get a percentage if they kept a high enough grade in the class and still earn credit. So I read that wrong. So students could get any percentage on their final exam. And as long as they have a 60% in the course overall, they can still earn credit. Most high school courses, the final exam is weighted at 20% of the total grade. Now let's look at how middle school is different due to their unique quarter grading system. First of all, middle schools will not be required to take final exams in their Edgenuity courses. And then for their quarter systems, the first and third quarter grades will be marked NA for all middle school students, as these courses are semester long and continuous. But we will be notifying you if your student is failing with a parent automatic email, if that's activated, or other type of communication. Every school is in a different place for inputting data. If you are not getting progress email notifications, you might want to reach out to your schools and share your current email address and request to be activated for parent progress emails. This concludes my brief overview of the student experience.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you to Joe, Jess, and Anna. We really appreciate your knowledge. And now we'd like to answer a few questions from our families that are watching at home. Our first question is in regards to forgetting usernames and passwords, primarily to Infinite Campus. What is the process of recovering those passwords?
Oh, you can, on the parent campus page, you can click on the area that said forgot username or forgot passwords, and you can reset your username or password there. Or the best way also is calling your school's, calling the school secretary or registrar so that they can help you reset those two items.
Perfect. And we did go over it on the web browser, but could you talk a little bit about the app that can be downloaded onto a tablet or a phone?
Oh, definitely, yes. A direct link is being shared in the Facebook chat and in the YouTube chat, but you can also go to the district website and go under Family School Partnerships under Infinite Campus, and there you'll find the link with instructions to download the application.
Wonderful. Another question that we received is students using Teams can see some grades, but they're different from Infinite Campus. Where should the parents be looking for grades for their students, especially those in full distance learning in high school?
Say it's a mixture of the two, because sometimes not all assignments are assigned through Teams, especially for those students who also get assignments from Envision Math, for instance, or the Bridges, which is the elementary reading, the ELA curriculum. Teachers can use assignments through there as well. And so overall, Infinite Campus is really the best place to look for grades, but the assignments that are assigned through Teams, you will be able to look at those and see the feedback from the teacher to either review it with your student or even review it and redo some things if the scores are low.
Okay, and we have one parent that's asking, what if the grades are different from different platforms? What grades count if they are different?
I would say contact your child's teacher directly and just ask them questions as to why there's a difference between the two. They'll be able to answer your question a lot easier than calling the school. I mean, and talking to like the secretary or somebody.
Great, thank you. We have a question from a parent whose student is using Edgenuity, and the student spends about an hour on each class, but what's the minimum or average of assignments they need to do? Some students have Edgenuity open, but they don't, it says that they're not doing enough assignments. Could you address that, Joe?
Sure. I think the best thing to do is to look at that course report, the first report that we reviewed. And let me see if I can get a screenshot of it to show you what it has on there. Because on that course report, it'll tell you what's due and what you have to do, and then estimated time. And then also the student will be alerted if they're behind. So also on their main page, let me get this screenshot so we can talk about it a little bit more. Can you see that? Grace,
Yeah.
do you see that now? So right on this home page of a student, you could see all of their courses. And if a target date has been put in for the course, you'll see a little dash bar. And then underneath there'll be text and it'll say what % they are completed and if they're behind. So blue would be behind, green is ahead, and red would be, red is behind, I'm sorry. Blue is on target, and then green would be ahead. So that's one way to see the overall picture. So then there's other ways to pace yourself and goal set. So we also have on our webpage student goal sheet, weekly goal sheet that you could use to set goals every week for your child at home. I think would be really helpful.
Great, thank you. We have a couple more questions about Edgenuity. If my middle school student didn't do well in the first quarter, is their actual grade going to be their grade on their transcript, or can they catch up in the second quarter? And that is for middle school.
Yes, for middle school, so middle schools are different than high schools. So middle schools are based on quarter grades. So for Edgenuity, since Edgenuity is a continuous semester-long course for them, we advise middle schools to put in an A, not applicable, for the first quarter and the third quarter. So the only way we update parents are just progress reports at that point if they're failing, but they shouldn't get a grade for the first quarter and third quarter on their quarter grades.
Great, thank you. And in regards to tests, you did talk about this a little bit, but could you reiterate that, especially students that are taking tests full distance, what they're supposed to have in their notes and what parents can do to help support them in that process?
Yeah, sure. Let me see if I can get a screenshot to help with that as well. 1 second. Let me get this open. Yeah, so with tests, there's several ways to remediate. If a student clicks on the score of a quiz or an assessment, they'll get how they did, and we actually allow students to see what they answered and any correct answer that they might have missed and where they might have missed that question. So before you have them retake, I would encourage the student to either review the quiz first or go back and review the instruction again, because once you've reviewed instruction one time, you can go back and skip to different places that you might not have understood, or you could go through the transcript and ask the system to look for the important concepts in there. So I'd have them review before they would ask for another retake. So remediation is really important for a student, your child, to do before they take multiple tests or retakes. Did that answer the question, Grace?
Yes, and along those lines, as far as retakes go, if a student is struggling and with taking a test, can they retake it, especially a final exam? And what does that process look like?
Yeah, so in general, courses are built for 3 retakes per course, and that includes the final exam. So the final exam you could take up to 3 times for most courses, and Edgenuity is going to take the highest score of those 3 attempts. Now, if for some reason you think you need an extra attempt, the teacher's probably going to make sure you've remediated first and went back to look at you know, the instruction for that for those courses that units you struggled in, but then they could give you a retake. You know, the teachers, it's their discretion to give multiple retakes.
Great, thank you. And we have a question for Jess that is in regards to missing assignments. It sounds like this parent, the teacher is typically providing assignments via Teams. And if they're missing an assignment, should they look in Teams first, or should they move to Infinite Campus?
And teams first, just because that will also tell you not only what assignments are missing, but it could tell you any feedback that a teacher has given as well. So I would check teams first.
Okay, great, thank you. Our final question is, what if my student is failing classes at this point? Can they improve? I think this may be a question for all of our presenters.
I think the best thing is to communicate with your teacher. The teacher's going to know what exactly that student needs to do, what steps, what assignments, just having that conversation, because she'll be able to tell that, or she or he will be able to explain to the student or to the family how to catch up, what's missing, and what else they need to do.
Well, and it a lot of times really depends on the teacher also. Some teachers say that you can't make up missing assignments, or that if it's a late assignment, you know, that has to be turned in on a certain day, or you get either no points or a reduced amount of points, even if you complete it. You know, that because it is the end of a quarter, some teachers will have a cutoff. And so, you know, that this is why it's so important to really spend your time, you know, really almost on at least on a weekly basis, going over your assignments with your students and their grades, and really checking in all of the time, because you don't want to wait until the end of the quarter to all of a sudden realize that you're failing a class, and then it's too late. So it's really, really important to keep that constant communication with not only your students at home, but with the student's teacher as well.
Great, thank you. Thank you all so much for your presentations. We really appreciate it. If your questions were answered here in the presentation, please do email them to parentuniversity@washoschools.net. You can also find our past presentations of Thursday Tech Tips at washoschools.net/page/16005. Briefly, I'm going to remind our viewers that College Awareness Week starts next week, October 20th. The district is hosting a series of online workshops for families and students to participate, explore, and plan for college. The last day to register is tomorrow, Friday, October 16th. And then there will be a fair on October 21st, hosted by the Western Association for College Admissions Counseling. You can find more information on the website, the page that is on your screen. It is washoschools.net/page/15993. We want to thank everyone, and on behalf of the Washoe County School District, 21st Century Learning Division, Family School Partnerships, and Office of Communications and Community Engagement, we hope you have a great evening.
Bye, thank you guys. Thanks for having me.